When he turned his back from shoulder to shoulder, it looked like as wide as the tailgate of a truck.
And just darkness, literal darkness, just came like all over, just all over me except where I was standing.
This thing let out the most blood-curdling, mind-blowing, spine-tingling scream that you've ever heard in your life, and it cut through me like a knife.
And I knew that they were going to take me. I just knew it. And then the next thing I can remember is being levitated.
Well, when I look in there, I see two big eyes staring back at me.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Bump Podcast, a place for the believers of the unexplained, monsters, and paranormal. Join us, and we'll go face to face with what goes bump in the night. Hey there, believers. I got a good episode for you today. This week, I have a Dogman story. Those are few and far between. I'm excited to talk to Alan about this one. Dogman in Virginia, as well as a Bigfoot sighting or encounter. I ran across his story on a Facebook page, like Appalachian Cryptids or something like that. But I was intrigued by what he had to say, and I asked him if he would come onto the show and talk about it, and he was down for that. So here we are. I think you guys will enjoy it. Maybe we can get some more clues as to what we're dealing with all these kind of creatures and cryptids and why they're showing up now. So let's go ahead and jump into it with Alan.
Okay. Well, the first time I ever really come across anything that made me go, there's things here that shouldn't be here or you wouldn't think would be here, is I was coyote hunting behind my house. Now, here's the layout of my yard at the point in time. We have about 2 acres of property in Sugar Grove, Virginia. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know where that's at.
Not exactly.
Okay, you know where Marion is?
Yep.
Okay, it's literally on the back side of the mountain away from Marion.
Okay.
It's what we call BFE.
Yeah.
Well, I was sitting up against the fence row, and the only reason I knew this thing was there is I heard a twig snap and I heard something grunt at me like a deer would. I'm like, well, it's 2 a.m. Deer are usually bedded down or out in the fields feeding. So I stand up and hit it with the light, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It starts to walk at me because I guess I surprised it by being there because I was in a ground blind in the dark. And I don't know how most people are in the woods, but I'm sure you know it's hard to see a ground blind in the daylight, let alone in the dark.
It is, yeah. I hunt out of a ground blind too.
I shot this thing 3 times in the chest, and it still came at me. I shot it with a high-powered rifle. I shot it with a 30-30.
Oh my gosh.
I shot it 3 times. It didn't even phase it. I thought if it caught me, I was dead.
Yeah.
I run so fast back to my house. I was crying, and my mom had never seen me like that in the woods before. Not a lot scares me in my life. I'm a big dude. I'm 6'3", 220 pounds.
Yeah.
Not a lot scares me. I mean, I've looked at bears coming at me in a tree stand with a bow, and that's all I had.
Right.
I jumped a 6-foot creek bed in my yard to get away from this thing and never missed a beat running to the house. I get in the house, and my dad's buddy says, you probably shot a bear. I'm like, this wasn't a bear. He's like, well, I'm going to go up here to the house and get my gun, and we're going to go back and look for it. We get back there and he's like, Kenny, my dad's name is Kenny. My name's Alan. My mom's name is Amanda. And if people want to know my dad's friend's name, his name is Josh Farmer.
Okay.
We get back there and Josh looks at me and goes, I don't know what you shot, but I can put my 12.5 men's boot, hiking boot. It's a pretty good sized boot.
Yeah.
He put it in the footprint and his foot would not touch on either side of this print. There was blood all over the place. And if I'd had known at the time what it was, I would have collected some of it, but I didn't.
Well, let me ask you, what was it?
That was the biggest thing. It looked like a Sasquatch, but it looked, I don't know if you've seen the documentaries on YouTube about the type 1s and type 2s and type 6. It looked like a type 3, that the more ape looking ones.
Okay.
All I know is it took 3 30-30 rounds to the chest and still was coming at me.
Wow.
I mean, it scared me bad enough. I don't go in the woods with anything less than a 40 caliber handgun.
Yeah. See, I don't know an animal, period, that could take 3 rounds from a 30-30.
And they were soft nosed bullets.
Man.
And I don't know how much people know about ballistics. Those mushroom out to be about the size of a quarter when they come out the back.
Yeah, it's bigger around than your thumb. It's
yeah.
Man. Wow. So let me just ask you some details, man.
Okay.
How close did it get to you before?
Before I started running, it probably got 20 or 30 yards away from me.
Okay, so you had a good.
Because I shot it at 100 yards.
Right. Man.
And all I can say for people is, if you're going to go and try and hunt one of these things down to bring to science, bring more than one person with a high-powered rifle, because they can cover distance like that.
That's what I've heard. Give me some more details, just so.
My dad has had multiple sightings of the same one because it's got scars on its chest from where the 30-30 hit it and it lived.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
He's got a trail camera picture of it.
So it's staying in the same area.
Yes.
They
live in that little mountain range right there through Dickey's Knob all the way to White Top.
Man. Okay. See,
and I don't know if you know a lot about Dickey's Knob and White Top area, but
I don't.
It's pretty much like the Cumberland Gap.
Is it? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Just
a big mountain range. And there's caves all through it that they can live in.
Yeah. Those caves probably go in there and come out in Kentucky somewhere.
Exactly. We live on the biggest cave system in the world in the Appalachians.
Yep. Yeah, we do. Okay. So this Bigfoot creature, I guess if it
honestly, I'd say it was probably 400 to 500 pounds at the time.
Okay. 400 to 500 pounds. How tall do you think it was?
Like I said, I'm 6'3". It had a good 2 or 3 feet of height on me. And that's saying something, considering in boots I'm 6'4".
Right. Yeah, you're a good sized guy.
Yeah.
And I imagine it cleared that 100 yards pretty quick, right?
It cleared that 100 yards faster than it took me to clear an acre to get to my door.
Yeah. Now, was it coming for you, Alan? Did you feel like it was coming after you, or?
I don't know, but I was scared enough to the point that I did shoot it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't blame you for shooting it. I know a lot of people disagree with that.
Well, when it
like you were more in like a self-preservation
in a menacing way and shows you its teeth by pulling its lips back like a gorilla would.
Yeah. Is that how it behaved?
Yes.
Okay.
It behaved like a big person, but it looked like an ape.
Wow.
I've got a trail camera picture somewhere on my phone that looks like somebody's hand like this reaching around a tree and covering the camera.
I'd love to see that picture, man. I'd love to see
I'll
it.
have to get my mom to send it to me, but I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And that's in the same area.
Was this your first time seeing something like that? Did you believe in
First time
Bigfoot?
ever running across anything like that.
Did you believe in that kind of stuff before you went out there?
Yes, but I had never seen anything before that.
Yeah.
Just like I said, I'm not here for validation. I'm not
Right.
here for people to go, hey, I believe you. I know what I saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it scared me to the point I was afraid for my life.
Well, no doubt, man. Hunters, I've hunted all my life. People,
Hunters don't get scared easy, do we?
no, you don't spook too easy, and you don't shoot unless you know what you're shooting at.
Yes.
And for you to have this, this feeling of dread, of you better shoot it before it comes at you.
Instant dread.
I don't blame you for doing that, man. You're protecting yourself.
Yeah. And I was using a Marlin 3030.
Yeah.
Marlin model, fucking, I can't remember the model number. I think it was a 330 lever action.
Yep. Yep. Man.
And for me to back off after unloading those 3 shells at it, that's saying something. Because most people with a 3030 are going to think, hey, I got enough firepower here to deal with a bear or whatever.
Yeah. You would think one round and it's going to go down.
Done, but
Yeah.
no. It took the first one, took another step at me, took the second one, took another step, and then on the third one, it started running at me.
Oh my goodness. So when did it stop coming after you?
I don't know, because I never looked back when I started running.
Okay.
I would imagine the fence stopped it because it was a pretty high fence. It was probably chest high on me, being 6'3". That's what, maybe a 5-foot fence.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I'm assuming it stopped at the fence. I don't know. I never stopped to look back. I just hauled ass to the house, man.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. Now, your dad's had, you said, multiple pictures show up.
Yes.
Or has he had any sightings?
He's got
personally?
a piece of hair that we don't know what it is. It looks like black bear hair, but it looks like a cinnamon black bear.
Okay.
But it looks too long.
Yeah.
And he's had this thing knock on his house in the middle of the night, like,
Wow.
and him get up and go, honey, did you hear that? To my mom, and my mom go, yeah, what was that? He said, I don't know, but I'm gonna go check it out.
Mm.
He walks outside and this thing stands up maybe 40 yards away from him in the field in front of the house, and he goes, I'm going back inside.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I don't blame him for that,
And at the time, all he had was his Springfield 45.
Yeah. Well, if a 30 didn't bring it down, then a handgun.
45 might be enough to deter it after 15 or so rounds in the clip.
Yeah. Yeah, if you empty the magazine, maybe. But
But
let me ask
you,
if these things are this big and they're this fast and they're this powerful, and everybody agrees to this, why don't they come inside the house? What's stopping them from coming?
It's like they're there just to pick at you.
Yeah, man.
It's like they're curious, but they're also dangerous in a way that they don't know how to react around us because we don't know how to act around them.
That's a good answer. Yeah.
My fiance said it's because they don't pay rent.
They didn't pitch in on dinner, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, something I always wonder, there's all these stories and all these encounters, and everybody
they're powerful enough. I think if they wanted in, they would come in.
Absolutely.
There was one that put their hand in my house through an open window before, but
Really? What happened there?
well, it met a 120-pound pit bull and didn't like it.
Oh my gosh.
I joke around about these things because now it's made me to the point I'm really not afraid of the dark as I was as a kid, because I know things are real and that we have to worry about them.
Right.
But my biggest thing is I want people to know that these things are dangerous and will hurt you.
Yeah, man.
There was one that came after my little brother, and he was walking home one day during the summer of probably around 2019, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
He was walking home from his friends. They had been gaming all day. And he walks home around 8:30 at night. You know, just on the edge of twilight, starting to get really dark.
Right. Yeah.
About the time you would come out of the deer woods.
Right.
Well, he gets chased from Flat Ridge. Flat Ridge and where my mom's house is probably about 1.5 miles. He gets chased for about 1/4 of that by this thing.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if you know what a knot deer is, but that's what he said he saw chasing him.
Okay. Now I've just recently, like in the last year, started hearing about these things, these knot deer.
I have seen one thing on Facebook that turned out to be true. Up in Pennsylvania, they saw a deer gnawing on a human rib cage on a trail camera.
Yep. I've seen that picture. Now I don't know where this human rib cage came from on a trail camera. That's kind of spooky in itself.
I got no idea.
But yeah, I've heard about these knot deer, and that's what do you think
It's
that?
scary.
Yeah, what do you think that is? Is it
Honestly, it's got to be.
like a shapeshifter or something? Or
I would think so, because shapeshifters, people think just because you say the word shapeshifter or skinwalker, that gives them power and makes them come to you. No, you have to talk about the being in and of itself, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. I'm not too worried about that. I've dealt with a lot of stuff from doing this show, so it's one more thing's not
I
gonna
know how that goes.
Yeah, man.
I've had people bring stuff into my life that I didn't want no part of before.
Yep. I've had that happen several times. I've had to do a lot of cleansing of this house. I should probably do the show somewhere else instead of in my house.
Probably, but you need to get you one of the little outbuildings.
Yeah, man, something. I need to do it in the basement of a church or something.
Be like, can I teach demonology in your church?
Yeah, that would go over great.
Actually, there was a Baptist church here in Virginia that had a demonology class for about 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, they taught people how to defend themselves against demons and demonic possession.
That's my kind of place, man. I'd be all about that. All right, Alan. So tell me, this creature.
Yes.
I'm going to assume if you shot this thing and there's blood on the ground and there's footprints, do you believe that these are a physical creature, or are these in the what they call
most
the
definitely
category? You know,
most definitely. You know, at 100 yards, you hear the repeat of a round smacking flesh.
Yeah.
I heard that 3 times when I shot it, so I know I hit something corporeal and living.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, for people that want to say they're transdimensional and stuff like that, they could be.
Right.
They could be on a higher plane of thinking than we are and just be able to utilize portals that we can't see.
Right.
I'm open-minded to everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like, and once you experience something like this, something that shouldn't be there, something that you can't explain away, it kind of forces you to open up a little bit.
I don't know if you saw my post on the page that we're a part of.
Yeah.
I told the one about the junkyard on there.
Yeah, I want to get into that one too here in a minute.
I got all the time in the world, brother.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can go as long as you want. I know we're getting kind of a late start.
I'll help you record a whole episode if you want.
All right, that works for me, man. So flesh and blood.
Oh yeah, easily.
You heard it hit the flesh, and you've seen the blood. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me ask you, what do you think Bigfoot is? Is it linked to us? Is it its own race, or?
I don't know how big you are into the Bible.
Pretty big.
I believe it's the lineage of Cain that we're supposed to roam the earth for 1,000 years.
Yep.
I believe that's where they came from.
Yeah. It's a pretty good theory. There's actually a lot of people subscribe to that theory. And last week I had a lady on who now I don't know if you believe this, so we'll go back and forth on that one. She says that she has a Bigfoot that has talked to her telepathically through what they call mind speak. In the
I
Bigfoot
believe
world.
they can do that.
Okay. And this creature told her that he was an Eliud, which is, it's biblical, but it is the descendant
Nephilim?
of a Nephilim. So, you know, the Watchers had the Nephilim with women, and now the Nephilim have bred with women and had these further offspring called the Eliud. And
Wouldn't
that's
that
why
make them demigods in a way?
yeah, that would be like they'd be quarter gods, basically. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not technically gods, but
Right. Well,
they
little
would
g.
still have grace of the angels.
Right. Yep. Lowercase g. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Sort of like Jesus.
Yeah. Kind of. Just weak. But yeah, they would, I imagine, have traits of their fathers. Which,
Yeah.
you know, could lend them these abilities that we can't.
Well, I mean,
otherwise
think about it.
explain.
There's 4 different types of them. Who's to say that they're not just 4 different clans?
Right. Good point. And that's just in America, right?
Oh yeah.
And so
the rabbit hole can go forever and ever.
yeah, man. Yeah, it absolutely can. All right. Well, Bigfoot. Is that the only time you ran into a Bigfoot creature?
Not really, but
Because you said
the second time really wasn't as grandiose as that seemed, because I was fishing and it just pushed a tree over in the lake. So
what?
yeah.
That's still a pretty big deal, man. Is it in the same area?
No, I didn't mess with it and it didn't mess with me, so it just left me alone.
Yeah. Now I wonder, is it the same one?
I think they do that as a territorial thing.
Yeah, I do too. I think the tree pushing to block paths to make a scene. I think that's just a, hey, don't come any closer to me, and I'll, you stay over there kind of thing.
Sort of like the same thing with a bluff charge with a brown bear.
Yep, very much so.
I don't know if you know what a wampus cat is.
I've heard of a wampus cat. Yeah.
Okay, my dad thinks he saw one, and then I think I've saw one behind my house, but I don't know, because that's the travel corridor for the Bigfoot. Why would another apex predator try to move in on that and risk getting hurt?
Right. Well, if these are, I don't know, man. See, Alan, the thing is, if these things are using some kind of portal, if this is about more cryptid animals being seen because there's some kind of thinning of the veil, there's more access, there might be just.
Well, there is a cave back there that has some Native American stuff in it.
Really?
Yes, like old pottery, arrowheads, flint knap shavings.
Now, have you or anybody in your family stolen anything out of that cave?
No, we know better.
Okay, good. Because it seems like, your dad's no stranger to this stuff either,
Yeah.
Um,
His daddy used to live in Great Dismal Swamp area.
Man. So, how far back does this go? Is this like
It's a family thing, really.
Yeah, that's what it
my
sounded like.
granddad saw, I don't know if you believe in aliens.
I do.
Okay, my granddad back in 1967, when he was working at Jewel Smokeless Coal Company,
Mm-hmm.
he had a brown truck that he had built. He was coming home through the Great Dismal Swamp. I don't know if you know where that's at.
Not exactly, but I've heard of it.
You know where Grundy is?
I do know where Grundy is.
That's where he was at.
Okay. Yeah, that's not far away.
Great Dismal River,
Yeah.
mouth of Wilson.
Got you now. Now I got you.
He said he saw a cigar-shaped craft veiled in light come up over Potts Mountain and then zip past Great Dismal and then just disappear.
Wow. Wow.
And he said it scared him bad enough. He drove 65 on the road through Great Dismal that is speed limited at 35
Right.
to get to work that morning and be off the road.
You know, that could have been the beginning of something, man.
Yeah.
You know, man, it's just blowing my mind, honestly. There's so much stuff that's going on around this area.
Virginia is really more active than what people think, honestly.
And you know, I've only had one or two people from Virginia talking to me about this. I've done over 100 episodes now, and I've had tons of people.
I've listened to some of your podcasts.
Oh, thanks, man. I've had tons of people out of West Virginia, out of Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, tons out of Pennsylvania. But
Have you ever seen the Mothman? I gotta know.
I have not seen the Mothman. I've seen the statue. You know, I've went up there 1,000 times.
What do you think that thing is?
Honestly, I think the Mothman was a true creature. And there's a whole lot of UFO flap going on for a couple of years before somebody spotted the Mothman.
Yeah.
And
it could have been a genetic experiment they dropped on us.
It could have been anything like that. It could have been an extraterrestrial of some sort, you know, because the way it was described, it had, you know, it's not like these pictures that you see. It had legs like a man, big, strong legs.
Like mountain climber legs.
Yes. Wings that were big, but shouldn't be big enough to support, you know, carrying something of this size. Right. At 100 miles per hour. You know, and the wings didn't flap.
It did it.
Yeah, it did it somehow. So it's something supernatural, or maybe it's just something natural that doesn't.
That's like the
gravity the way
thing.
we do.
Where did it go?
Yeah, I don't know. There's reports of it still yet, of things like it in Chicago and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell, man.
That's the portal thing.
Yep.
We don't know.
Could be. Could be. Now, this junkyard incident you had.
Oh Lord, that's the one that messed with my head the most.
Now, let me tell you, I'll be 100% honest with you. When I first started this, it's been almost 2 years now. I had a hard time wrapping my head around, you know, Dogman.
I did too when I first heard about it.
Like me and my dad, because my dad's hardcore believer in Dogman. Like me and my dad go round and round about it. But as time has went on, I have kind of had to give in. You know, there's too many sightings. There's too many reports.
Too many footprints. Too many sightings. Too many photos.
Yeah, I had people send me photos of these tracks that this woman has her hand beside it, and it's the size of her hand, the full size of her hand, almost the size of a shoe. I
have pictures for the junkyard incident.
Awesome.
My mom has a picture of, okay, I don't know if compared to my hand's pretty good size, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. The hand that my mom has a picture of is probably twice the size of that, and it has claws probably about that far off the top of the fingers.
Oh my gosh.
And that's on our vehicle in dust.
Really?
Yes.
See, it's something in your area, man. How far is this junkyard from your house?
From my house, it's probably about 5 miles.
Okay. That's nothing.
That's nothing for a creature like that.
No. Nothing. All right. Hop into it. Tell me all about it.
I've seen it twice.
Twice?
My little brother has seen it once, and my dad has seen it once. My mom hasn't seen it. She said she didn't want to see it. She don't want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame her.
The first time I seen it was I was watching my little brother after I got home from work because my mom was getting ready to go to work.
Yeah. And
we were staying at the junkyard because there's a house there in the middle. Well, my little brother goes outside to feed our 80-pound pit bull at the time, Tori. She was a full-blooded red-nosed pit, and you know they don't get scared of a damn thing.
Right, yeah, they don't play.
Well, he comes back in the house and looks at me and goes, "There's a guy in a wolf costume out here." I'm like, "Are you sure it's a dude in a costume and not somebody trying to steal something out of the junkyard?"
Right.
And he's like, yes, it's got a wolf's head and is standing probably 50 yards away from our front door at the junkyard. Well, I get up, and at the time I had a Smith & Wesson 40 caliber slim handgun. It probably only held 8 rounds, but a 40 caliber hollow point does a lot of damage when you're in close quarters.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't shoot this thing, thank God, because I don't know what would have happened. And it was just a flimsy old wooden door on this house. And I walk outside, I raise my gun up, and I go to walk around the corner of the house and look. I look, and this thing stands up from behind a junk car, turns at the hip, and looks at me. And it's standing there looking at me. And I'm standing here going, what the hell am I looking at? And it just dips behind the car and disappears.
Now, what were you looking at? What'd you see?
It was 7.5, maybe 8 foot. Maybe 8 foot. 8 foot's pushing it at the top of the ears, maybe standing straight up.
Yeah.
The ears probably stood 3-4 inches off the top of its head. It looked like a dude with a big ass German Shepherd head on top of it.
Really?
And this thing was solid white.
White.
Yes.
Wow. That's weird. Not that a dog man's not
my
weird.
little brother bad enough. He brought the dog in with him when he came to tell me.
Yeah. Man. So
and
what?
then it messed with me one night while I was sitting in the truck waiting to go pick my mom up. I was sitting there because I was warming the truck up because it was the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And it walks up, grabs the tailgate, and shakes the truck back and forth while I'm sitting in the driver's seat.
No kidding. Did you get eyes on it? Like you?
Yeah, I got eyes on it and dipped the hell out.
Yeah, man. Good.
You'll have to excuse my language.
You're okay. You're all right, man. So this
I dipped out because it grabbed the back of the truck, and literally the truck was in reverse. I was holding my foot on the brake. The ground was snowy, and with the snowy ground, it pushed the truck forward 2 foot by pushing it forward.
Man.
And it was a full-size Chevy 1500.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling these things can do whatever they want, honestly.
If they want you, they will get you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think it was just trying to scare me and punk me out, honestly.
Yeah. And of course it would punk you out. That would punk out anybody, man.
Yeah.
So when it's standing there and there's nothing between you but air and space here in the junkyard, and it's staring at you. You're staring at it.
I'm sitting here thinking, if this thing comes at me, I might only have one shot, and I better hit it in the head or I'm dead.
Yeah. Did it have shoulders like a man? Did it have a chest, or was it covered in hair?
And I'm standing here like this, talking to you.
Yeah.
Full. It had shoulders. It looked like a linebacker with his shoulder pads on in a wolf costume.
Man, that's just so.
I'd say the quads on this dog, man, its upper leg muscles were probably the size of an NFL grade football. Fully pumped up.
Yeah.
It looked kind of malnourished, but it looked still strong enough to kill you and eat you if it wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, like really defined, right? Like skinny, but like ripped.
It looked lean. Yeah, it looked lean.
Yeah, it looked lean. Now, did its eyes, did it have, like everybody talks about, red eyes or glowing eyes or anything like that? Or
I was right on the edge of daylight and dark, so I don't know. I didn't hit it with a flashlight, but I will say this: its eyes, the iris of the eyes was blue in this one.
Was it?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that makes sense because I think a lot of people are seeing eyes shining. They're thinking that the eyes are glowing.
Yeah.
So it had regular looking eyes for you, man.
It looked at me like it was looking like I was looking at another person in the eyes. Honestly, that's how vivid its eyes were.
Yeah. Now, when it dropped down, did it take off and go anywhere, or did it just hide?
I just saw it go drop down and then disappeared because the grass at that time was probably about this high.
Yeah. So you think it got down on
So it
all
could have
fours?
been anywhere, honestly.
Yeah.
I had no idea if it was circling around to try and get at me or excuse me,
You good? Before it's trying
or
to get
if
away?
it was trying to get away and hide, going into a den under a car. I don't know.
Right. Man. That's freaky, man. Now
Like
this-
I've seen things in my life that have scared me to the point I don't let my little brother or sister go outside alone anymore.
yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you. And especially in the area that you're in, it sounds like, Alan, that there's a lot going on.
Not only do we have bobcats, panthers, bears, coyotes, coy wolves.
Yeah, all the normal stuff to be afraid of. Yeah, man. But I had another question. I thought about it while you were talking.
Okay.
And it goes back to this Bigfoot.
Okay. Like I said, I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide.
Yeah, brother. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing this stuff. I know I kind of just jumped in out of nowhere on Facebook, like, hey, come talk to me.
You're
But,
good.
You know, I was
I
really
wanted
interested.
someone to share this stuff with to get it to people to hear because I've tried writing into other people and nobody's taking me seriously.
Well, I will definitely take you seriously. And this might get to, just a couple thousand people in the next, week or so. But those couple thousand people will help it get to a couple thousand more people. It spreads.
Oh,
It gets out there. This Bigfoot, when you shot it, how old were you then? You were young, you said, younger?
I was just getting ready to come out of high school. So I was a junior getting ready to go into being a senior.
Okay.
So I'm 23 now. I was probably about 15, 16-year-old kid.
Right. So
Kind of
naturally,
hunting in the dark by myself.
yeah, like I thought I could do when I was about that age.
Ooh, boy, did I learn.
Yeah, man. Well, what I was thinking about was there any activity there with Bigfoot
Beforehand?
before you shot it and pissed it off? Was there anything
My
going on?
dad had something knock on the building, like I said, and that was beforehand.
That was before.
Yeah.
So they already had their curiosity. They're already on the property and stuff.
Yeah, they're already there. And I think they were trying to figure out, hey, who are the new people in town? And
Yep.
tried to sneak up on me in the dark to check me out and got caught.
Yep. Man.
It's like my dad tried to tell me, you shouldn't have shot it if you weren't sure, but if it was coming at you, it really gave you no choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't blame you at all. I mean, you're 15 years old. You're out there. You see some 8-foot tall monster instead of a coyote.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to do, man?
And I'm sitting here with a 30-30 because I like to shoot out at range and try to pick them off before they get to the decoy because they'll grab a collar and destroy it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Man, how intense was that?
Intense enough, I crashed out about an hour later and slept for 2 days almost.
No doubt. Man, I'm so glad you shared this stuff with me because I haven't had like I said, I've only had 2 or 3 maybe Dogman stories where people are sure they've seen one, and one was up in Ohio.
Oh yeah,
and this is down in
you ever had the
Virginia.
Ohio grass man?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's your fiance there?
Yeah.
And she got stories too?
Well, she does, but she won't tell them because she's kind of shy. She's an introvert.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
My buddy Landon, I don't know if you believe in Wendigos or not.
I believe in just about everything, man.
Well,
It was back.
they went for a drive one night while I was at work, and they stopped up at the graveyard where my grandmother's buried because they go and pay respects to her because they're both part of the family pretty much.
Right.
And she is part of the family now. So
Right.
with one kid downstairs watching cartoons and another one in on the way.
Yep, that's family, buddy.
She's looking at me like she's gonna kill me. But they stopped up there, and my buddy goes, "Hey, Crystal, watch this." And he whistles, and something whistles back and starts running at him.
Really?
In a cornfield that is right beside the graveyard there. And I know you don't know much about Sugar Grove. You can look up Slimp Cemetery,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll show up on Google Maps.
Okay.
And there's big cow fields around there. And there's a big field that they plow every year for corn. The corn at the time was probably 6-7 foot tall. And before they drove off, all they said they heard was something screech in such a high pitch. And I don't know. They just said they left before they saw it.
I told him,
Yeah.
no, get up out of here.
What'd she say?
She said, "Nope, I want to go home, Landon."
Now,
It tried to get in the car with her one time, and I had to
Really?
run it off.
really?
Yeah, that's kind of a sensitive story because the night before that, I had tried to kill myself, and you know how entities like that can feed on stuff like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, one, I'm glad that it didn't work. I'm glad you're here.
They talked me out of it. I had a gun, and I was going to do it that way, but
Well, those babies are glad you're here too.
the
I'm sure.
people that I love talked me out of it.
Yep. I'm glad they did. And I'm sure those babies are glad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does seem like entities are drawn to that negativity. And not only do they feed on it, I think that they add to it. I think they whisper to us.
That's like demons acting like children.
Exactly. Which leads me to this. Are these dogmen, are these wendigos, are these demons?
They could be. They could be forms of demons made by Lucifer to sit here and torment the living.
Yep. Because, if an angel can manifest as a man, which they obviously could.
If they wanted to, they could come talk to us, yeah.
And these demons, which are, in my view, the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim that were killed in the Great Flood, what would stop them from presenting themselves as whatever monstrosity or person that they wanted to?
Exactly.
And would they not want to feed off of your fear? Would they not chase you to the front door and not come in your house because they can't come in your house?
Without being welcomed in.
Exactly.
I don't welcome things into my homes. I've moved into an apartment here recently that I'm in now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're getting off topic of the cryptids, but
you're
you
good.
said demons, and that said, hold on, flip script.
Yeah, you're good, brother. I have a tendency of doing that.
You'll love me then. I can flip it all day long. We had bought one of the VTech baby monitor cameras.
Yep.
And put it up in our living room. Something grabbed a roll of spoons off of our dresser downstairs one night and threw it across the room on video on there.
Mm.
And I said, "Yep, nope, I'm getting some sage."
There you go. There you go. I know we've kind of touched on the Bible a couple times, and I don't know how you feel about all that. And I'm not the one to try to.
I love talking about the Bible.
Okay. Well,
which one are we supposed to talk? Which one are we supposed to live by? The Old Testament or the New Testament?
Well, for me, as a Christian, for me, it's the New Testament. We keep the traditions, some of the Old Testament. We keep some of the commandments, but
love thy neighbor as thou love thyself and turn the other cheek. But when that doesn't work, you have to go with God's vengeful side sometimes, correct?
We want to. It says not to resist. It says if they want your shirt, give them your coat also, right? Something to that effect.
Yeah.
If they try to make you walk a mile, walk two for them. But when you're dealing with these entities in your home, when you're dealing with a demonic oppression, even if you're not quote unquote Christian, the name of Jesus Christ is enough to scare off these entities, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's power in that name, and I've heard atheists talk to me about this. You know, just out of fear or desperation, they'll command it to leave in the name of Jesus Christ, and that demon knows who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that name, it holds power. So
does Saint Michael.
Yes, if you got stuff floating around your house, it might not be a bad idea to take that sage and bless it in the name of Jesus, man.
Which one was it that was the patron saint of soldiers again?
That's Saint Christopher.
My dad's buddy Rusty Clark, he was in Afghanistan. God bless him. He was actually in it.
Yep.
He was over there, and the Taliban had cut supply line to their base. Well, on the Nephilim, his base fought a giant, a red-haired giant in the desert.
Yep. I've heard about that creature, that giant that came out of one of the caves, right?
This is a different one.
Really?
Yeah. This guy was part of Army.
Oh, he's the one that got shot.
Yeah, he got shot rolling out of a Humvee on patrol one day too.
Oh my goodness.
He's still alive and
Is he?
kicking. Yeah.
Man.
He got blew up by a mortar, everything.
Now see, when we get into talking about giants, I fall in love with that topic, man. I'm trying to line up a conversation. Actually, I got a couple of interviews coming up in the next month or so that's going to be about giants. But yeah, tell me about this. Him and his buddy were in their foxhole on machine gun duty, on guard, and they had their nogs on, their night vision goggles. Yep.
This thing come from out of nowhere in the middle of the desert. They said this thing popped up out of the sand with a spear and started walking towards the base. Well, they're sitting here radioing command post in the middle of the base going, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah.
Well, command told them to light it up because they thought it was a Taliban insurgent with an RPG.
Yep.
Well, this thing killed 4 or 5 dudes in the base before they killed it.
Oh my goodness.
It took them hitting it with a grenade and 6 rounds to the head from a 45.
Now, I would imagine it would be a sensitive conversation, but do you think that you could get a hold of this guy?
Probably not, because he's had to have brain surgery since then.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's totally understandable. Either way it goes, that's some traumatic
And the only
stuff.
reason he told us that story, even though he wasn't supposed to, is
Yeah.
because he forgot that he couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable.
So
Yeah. I'm glad you shared
try
that.
and keep his name on the.
Yeah, I'll omit that. That was for me and you.
Yeah, just bleep his name out.
Yeah, that's no problem.
I like to use actual names for context because it makes it easier to understand the stories.
Yes, it does. It does. It adds that.
And it adds the actual person's feelings at the time of.
Yeah, for sure. Man. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories that come out of the Middle East, man, about the jinn and stuff like that. You know, people walking through alleys and see people standing sideways.
Jinns are just evil gods.
Yeah, they're again, I would relate those to demons for me, in my view. Which
That's what they are. They're the demons of the Arabic culture.
yeah. And you know, another thing about Saint Christopher, you asked about the patron saint there. An interesting little tidbit. You know, originally Saint Christopher was depicted as having a dog head, right?
Yes.
And he was a
Like
man
the
of
Greek King Lycon.
yes, he was a man
I'm a
of great
history major,
stature.
so I got you.
Good deal, man. He helped children cross the river because he was so big. You know, they could climb onto him and he'd carry them across.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and he had the head of a dog. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. They kind of changed that over the years. But
What about the dog-headed men of the Amazon that were the warrior race?
right? Or the ones that who was it? Marco Polo wrote about.
The one, yeah.
Yeah, he ran to a whole village of traders that were dog-headed men. So
And
these
they could
things,
speak English and
yep. So it's hard to tell what we're dealing with or how long or how far back the stuff goes, man.
I believe they've been here just as long as we have.
I think so.
And some of them just survived human persecution.
Yep. Yep. So I don't know if they've taken to the caves, you know, for their own preservation or.
Well, I mean, look at the giant ground sloth and the short-faced bear. We hunted those into extinction. Why wouldn't they look at that and go, I'm hiding?
Yep. That's good points, man. Good points. Well, Alan, is there anything else that we want to cover tonight?
No, but I have other stories if you'd like to hear them later on.
Absolutely, I would. I absolutely would, man.
If you'll keep in touch with me, I'll keep sharing.
Yeah, brother. I'll holler at
And if
you.
anything new happens, I'll be the first one to tell you.
Please do. Please do, because it sounds like you're in a hot zone yourself right now, man. Or
Oh, I'm in danger. I'm in danger.
Well, I appreciate you coming on with me tonight. I will holler at you on Facebook.
Sometimes with my thinking process, I will repeat myself though.
Hey, you're good. Ain't no big deal. We can just do a recap and get into whatever new stuff comes up. But yeah, definitely stay in touch with me, man. If you have email, my email is real simple. It's just the name of my show, the Bunk Podcast @gmail. So
All righty.
that's where I get most of my pictures and stuff sent to me. So that makes it easier for you.
Would it be okay for me to send you those pictures over Facebook that I have?
Yeah. However you want to send them, if you get the chance to send them, I greatly appreciate it.
Okay, I'll have to have my mom find the trail picture one.
Okay, that's fine, brother. I appreciate you, and you have a good night and take care of those babies in there.
All righty, thank you.
Hey, thank you, brother.
I'll be looking forward to the episode.
Oh yeah, man, it'll be out in about 2 weeks.
All right,
All right, man.
see you
Later.